Hey everyone, welcome to today's Lunch Lesson Live. This is Mompreneurs to Millionaires. Today we are going to talk about how to get more clients. Who needs more clients, right? I think as business owners, we all could use more clients. So I'm so glad you're here. Thanks so much to everyone who voted. So every Tuesday I put out a poll to you can vote on today's topic. So I put out some suggestions, but I would always love to hear suggestions from you. If there are topics that you want to come talk about that keep coming up for your business, I would love to hear what questions, what burning questions do you have about lead generation, about business, about mindset, about money blocks. I love talking about all of those things, all of the things that build us all to rise together and become millionaires, right? That's the goal. So I would love to bring everyone with us, right? I love lifting each other up. So that's the goal, is that we rise together. So let me know what your questions are. You can always feel free to comment below, or you can send me a private message, or you can add suggestions to that Tuesday poll. So thanks so much to everyone who voted. Let me know if you are on the live. Just type live below. Or let me know let me know if you're on the replay. Just type replay below. I'd love to know who comes in the day of and who's coming in the day after. Awesome, so glad you're here. So today, how to get more clients, right? This is such the burning question, I think, for every business, right? I think all of us are always trying to get more clients. That's the goal as a business. We are wanting to scale, we're wanting to grow. We all want to build that system, right? So that is definitely the goal. So today we are really going to talk about kind of the 3 kind of simple, easy ways to get more clients. It's so simple, right, that you've probably done it and then maybe forgotten, right? Or you haven't thought about how simple it really can be. So 3 simple ways to get more clients. That's what we're going to talk about. So tell me if you have been, do you feel like you've been posting and hoping, right? Tell me below. Do you feel like you have been putting out content and just hoping it lands on the right ears, right? Tell me below if you feel like you've been posting and hoping, right? So many, right? I feel like that is, so many of us get stuck in this mindset that all I have control over is my content. So I'm just going to keep putting out content. If I don't get enough response or enough eyeballs, it must be something I need to change. I need to change the message. I need to change the content. I need to change the pictures, the colors, the blah, 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 right? We go down this rabbit hole of it must be something I need to change if you're not getting enough eyeballs. More than likely, here's the kicker. It is not your content, right? It is not your content that needs to change. It is your number of people, right? You are not getting enough feedback in order to change anything. I would not change anything until you get enough eyeballs. And if you're not getting enough eyeballs, then you need to change your strategy, right? Because it is not about changing your content and putting out more content to get more, right? If it's not working, don't keep doing that same thing, right? It is not about doing more of what doesn't work. Do more what does work, right? So if it's not working, you need a new strategy, right? So if you're posting and hoping and just hoping it lands on the right ears, and you're not getting, and you're hearing crickets, right? If you're posting and you're not hearing anything, that's when you need to change a strategy. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So definitely, I love talking about strategy with all of my clients, right? I offer one-on-one coaching. If that's something that interests you, I would love to look at your system. I am on a mission to build sexy systems. I come from an engineering background where systems are not so sexy, but I'm in the business to help them light you up, right? If it is not a system that lights you up, you're not going to do it every single day. So that is the goal, is to build systems that light you up and actually work. Because if it's not something that you love doing and it's not something that's working, you're not going to do it, right? And so I hear this a lot, right? Consistent. Oh, I just need to be more consistent. It's a really hard word. If it's not working, why would you do more of that thing, right? Why would you do more? Consistency, typically, in my mind, I think for a lot of us means more, right? I need to show up more. I guess I just need to be more consistent. I need to do it more. But if it's not working, how hard is that to do more of that, right? I think it's really hard to stay motivated if if it's not working. So that's really when we need to change strategy, get some new knowledge, try something new, right? Change it up, and that can be scary, right? So I always like to start these videos with a little bit of some mindset work, right? I always like to say, let's put on our abundance crown. I'm calling it a crown because it is all of us, right? Is reaching into our goddess, our inner goddess, and it is about reaching for that crown. So putting on your abundance crown and realizing that all things are possible, right? So as you watch this video, I invite you to be open-minded to that all things are possible, and you have the power to change, right? Because it is about, if something's not working, if you are stuck in your business, if you are not making moves, if you are upset about your 2025, right? If you felt like it was going to be a lot better than it was, let's talk, right? Because let's make moves so that you can get 2026 started and right out the gate, right? Let's get started, make some changes. If 2025 did not go as well as you had hoped, let's change it so that 2026 can be amazing, right? I always claim every year for women business, definitely 2026 is going to be the year for women business. I'm claiming it. I think it's the age of women, right? I really believe that women businesses, we are coming into our power, and it is time. So I'm so glad you're here. We are gonna rise together. We're gonna do this together. So I'm so glad you're here. All right. So again, today we're gonna talk about the 3 best ways to get more clients. So with that abundance crown, I'd like you to pick 2 things that you pick from this video that you hear, if it's an aha moment, if it's something you hadn't thought of before, 2 action items that you are going to try in your business today. And I want to hear below. So as we're talking today, because every free video, right? Every free video is great. You can download all the free material in the world, but if it's not something that's going to impact you or something that's going to change your mindset or change your actions, then you've wasted your time, right? If it is all for naught, if you learn something and then cannot implement it, that is where you've wasted your time, right? And I don't want you to waste time. I don't want you to waste years like I did on a bunch of free material that, right, I could never implement. I always say coaches use other coaches, right? So if you are a coach and you feel like you have not been able to move your business forward, it may be time to start thinking about hiring another coach. The best way to implement all of these strategies that you're learning is to learn from those who have implemented them, right? It is really hard to sometimes do it yourself. I know you're resourceful, and I know you are here because you're resourceful and you're an action taker. But if it is hard to implement, that is where it may just be a small tweak. You're probably doing all the things, right? And what you're doing isn't wrong, but if it's not working, it's time to make a change. If you're stuck, it can be scary getting out of that stuck, right? But I think it is far scarier staying in the stuck without a plan to move forward, right? Because if it's not working, then what, right? If it's not working, what is your plan to move forward? So that's what I always say. I think it is far scarier to stay stuck without a plan, because then you don't have hope, right? At least with a strategy and hiring someone who's done it before, at least you have hope that it's going to work, right? And belief that it's going to work. So, okay, so today we're going to talk all about the 3 ways to get more clients. So write down 2 action items from today's video that you are ready to incorporate, right? That you are ready to implement in your business. All right, if you're new here, a quick little background. My name is Christina. I have been in business, I say, for forever, right? I feel like I just recently thought about, right, my childhood growing up, that I made a little business out of babysitting, right? Tell me who were the babysitters out there that made a little business out of babysitting before you could actually get a job, right? So definitely, my dad made us little business cards for babysitting. Like, it was a whole thing, right? It was a whole entrepreneurial adventure. So, but I say over the last 10 years, right, I've really been helping businesses really come into their own, and especially women business owners. I started my first little Etsy shop back in 2010 before I had babies, and Etsy was a beautiful place, right, even back then. But I learned very quickly that you cannot just build it and people come, right? Unfortunately. Please tell me below if you thought that if you built it, people would just show up. I did. I definitely thought that if I build my beautiful Etsy shop, people will just show up and start buying, right? Fast forward to 2014, my husband and I opened a little bike shop, coffee shop It was a great little fun store. It was a brick and mortar physical location, and it was so much fun in our community. I loved getting to know our community. I loved showing up to that little shop every day. I always say being a barista is much like a bartender, right? People will share their whole life story with you, and I loved it, right? I loved getting to know our community. But again, we opened up shop. I thought if we had the right signage, we had the right colors, the right products, all the things, people would just show up, and they didn't, right? Newsflash, you can't just build it and people show up. You have to go where they are. So this is definitely the number one tip for today. Go where your customers are. So at the bike shop, this looked like figuring out who that customer was, right? For one, and it changed. That's what I will often say in my videos. We thought it was going to be the high-end cyclists, right? That would be perfect for them to come in, get a cup of coffee, check their brakes, adjust their derailleurs, right? All those things. But we found very quickly after we bought all the expensive equipment to adjust the derailleurs and the high-end bikes and all of that, we found there are far more families. There are far more families showing up wanting to fix their kids' bikes, ordering kids' bikes, getting their kids' bike lessons, right? Adjusting lower end bikes. So we found that our audience changed. So that was really important, a really important pivot. And so with that, we had to learn now our customer is not the high-end bike cyclist, right? So we had to go to a different place, go where your audience was, go where your audience is hanging out. So this turned into, right, a big shift. We had to change our freebies. We had to change where we were hanging out. We started hanging out at schools. We started hanging out at Little Leagues. We started donating to Little League events and things like that, right? We had to go where our audience was. So this is the number one tip. Go where your audience is. Go to them, right? It is not enough to post and hope. It is not enough to just put your wares out there and hope people show up and buy, because they don't, right? You have more power. You have far more power than you admit, right? You have to go where your audience is. You have to go to them. So figure out who your audience is, right? And then go where they are. Figure out where they hang out and go to them. So online, this looks like a bunch of different places, right? This can be, if your audience is on Facebook, you definitely want to be on Facebook. If your audience is on Instagram, be on Instagram. If they're on both, or if they're on TikTok, right? Definitely you want to start hanging out in the spaces where your audience is. If they are in Facebook groups, go to those Facebook groups where they hang out, right? Go where they are. So it feels simple, right? And maybe slightly overlooked though, right? I feel like it is so simple to think about who your audience is and then go to them, go where they are, start those relationships. Because here's what I've learned, right? Is that relationships is far more important than content. Your content will rarely convert someone to actually buy right then, right? Most of us are not buying from one post. We have been in someone's world for a while. They have started a relationship with us. We trust them. Only then will we buy, right? So it is not about content. It is not about creating more content or creating enough content so that people click and buy. It is about building relationships with your target audience. So go where they are, hang out where they are. So that is definitely, I think, tip number one is go where your audience is and hang out where they hang out. So also with the bike shop, right, we learned this very important lesson that Facebook groups is so important. And in fact, with the Etsy shop also, I learned that hanging out in Facebook groups where other Etsy shop owners was what grew my business more than anything. So fast forward to the bike shop, we also saw that in our community, Facebook groups was where people were hanging out. So we created our own Facebook group, and that was really successful. In fact, to the point where those bike rides that we had created, people are still going on those bike rides 10 years later, which is pretty amazing. So, but what I loved is building that community. I wish I had known what I know now about Facebook groups. I think we would have been much more successful, but I think Facebook groups is a place where a lot of target audiences are hanging out, right? And the right ones. There are lots of spammy Facebook groups, right? For sure. But I forgot that lesson of all of those Facebook groups that were successful when I then turned this into my passion to help other business owners. I didn't want to see another woman business owner have to close her doors. So I turned this into my passion, that heartache from the business. And again, I always say, right, it's never a failure. I learned so much. I'm so glad the bike shop happened, but I am so glad that it's over, because then I can be here now, right? So I am so excited that I have learned so much more about Facebook groups, right? And so I wish I had learned that lesson when I first started my coaching business, is to start that Facebook group. I wish I had started it way sooner than I did. I only started it a year ago, and it has already grown so much and brought me so much more clients than I ever thought possible. So I really think starting a Facebook group was the life changer move for me, for sure. So, and I would love to help you if you're on the fence of whether or not you need a Facebook group. I think it is the quickest and easiest way to qualify your leads, because if you're not getting people reacting to your social media profiles, again, it's not about doing more content, and also they are not taking action. So the only place to get people to usually take action is with a Facebook group, because they're, one, joining the Facebook group, but then they get those 3 entry questions. So if you're on the fence of whether or not you need a Facebook group, I think every business could benefit from a Facebook group just to get your audience into a space, build that community of your target audience. Make sure you have a way of figuring out, qualifying who your target audience is and getting them in a place, because you really don't have control over your followers over on social media. So I wish I had remembered that lesson earlier on, but finally, right, I learned from another coach, right? I really think that was the step, that was the baller move, right? That was the CEO move, is to hire a coach to actually learn a strategy that has worked. She knew it worked, she taught it to me, and now I'm ready to teach it to you. And I am so excited that I have learned and grown, and that I took that leap of faith. It can be way scary to take that leap of faith, but again, I think it's far scarier to stay without a plan than to take a little leap of faith that's a little scary out of your comfort zone, right? Because growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone, right? So taking that little leap of faith, I think is really valuable and really important in every business growth. So something to think about for sure. All right, so that was number 1, is go where they are. Number 2, you have to have a way to warm up your audience. Again, most people are not buying directly from one post, right? It is either a myriad of posts, right, over several weeks, months, however long, to warm them up to your system. But here's the hard part, is if you are only posting on social media profiles, meaning your personal profile, your business profile, if you are only posting on those social media profiles, and no one is seeing your posts, they're not getting one post, let alone your conglomerate of posts, let alone your series of posts that kind of explains and gets the whole big picture of your business, right? So more than likely, they are not getting many posts, let alone maybe one post. I say this all the time, right? You could have 1,000 followers and not one person is seeing your posts. If you are not getting likes or comments on your posts, no one is seeing it. No one is seeing it, right? It is not that it's not resonating. It is that no one is seeing it, I promise. So that's when you need to make some changes, right? If no one is seeing your posts, don't post more. That's not the answer. Change your strategy. Okay, so number 2, like I said, you need a place to warm them up. So if you are getting enough eyeballs and if you are getting great engagement over on your social media profiles, this is where you warm them up to your system. And even next step would be to get them on your email list, right? That's how you can warm people up. I say the Facebook group is the best way to warm people up, because you are building that community, you are getting that support, and you are bringing them into your world. And there are far more tools to let people know about your posts inside your Facebook group, and there are far more things you can do inside a Facebook group than just on your regular social media profile. So you can do different things to engage your audience within your Facebook group to really get them warmed up to your systems and offers. So definitely the Facebook group, I think, is the easiest and quickest way to get those qualified leads into one place and then warm them up, because it's going to take some time, right? They often say it's like 8 or 10 touches before someone is actually ready to buy. So one post isn't going to do it. And if they don't see another one of your posts, they're gone, right? You have no way of capturing their information. You have no way of following up, right? So it's definitely warming them up into a space. I call the Facebook group the perfect sales funnel, because that's really what you're doing. You're getting your people into one space and then warming them up and then categorizing them, right? This person needs this custom approach, and you have different offers within there. But the only way for people to get the whole big picture of your business is to make sure everyone's seeing the whole big picture, right? And even still within the Facebook group, it's a challenge, but far easier than outside of a Facebook group. I would say. So number 2 is to warm them up. So this can be with your email list or your Facebook group. So number 3 then, this seems very simple, right? But it is to follow up, right? It is such a missed opportunity, I think. I think most, especially women, right? I think we are stuck in a little bit of a limiting mindset that we don't want to be salesy. We don't want to be pushy. We don't want to ask for the sale. We don't want to follow up. Most of the time, more than likely, they have forgotten about you. It is not that they are annoyed. It is not that they don't want to hear from you. They have more than likely forgotten. I know I'm guilty of this, right? I forget. People send me things, I'm interested, I forget. There are lots of things. We're so busy, right? We're pulled in a bunch of different directions. I don't know about you, but on social media, right? I'm like, oh, I'm doing this task. I'm going to go here. I'm going to click here. Oh, what's that cute dog video? I've forgotten, right? There goes 20 minutes. So, right? They have forgotten. Your message probably got pushed down. Your comment got lost in their feed. They have forgotten about you. You need to follow up. So this looks like a number of different ways. I think following up in the DMs is a really amazing place, right? The power of DMs. Tell me if you are, how you feel about the DMs, right? Tell me if you feel like DMs can be too salesy, if you feel like DMs are scary, or if you love DMs. Give me a love DMs below. I'd love to hear from you. So I think DMs are great, right? I really think there's a right way to DM and there's definitely a wrong way. You've gotten those spammy DMs, right? I do not encourage spammy DMs. I encourage being a real person, right? Being a genuine person that is customizing your message to that particular person. So, right, I don't particularly like the, friend request me and immediately send me a message that says, hey, how you doing? I don't have time for that, right? I really am sorry. I would love to build a friendship and maybe that will turn into a friendship, but I don't have time for that, right? Either tell me what you're interested in, tell me what your offer, or, right, tell me, don't pitch right away. That's the other side of it, right? So it's either too little or too much, somewhere in between, right? Be a genuine human. Hey, I saw your recent post on, XYZ. I'd love to hear more. Or I saw your recent post on XYZ. I thought of you because I have this new challenge coming up and I'd love for you to join. Give them something, right? Give them value before you pitch. And I always say this as well. Support others before you ask for support. Do not friend request me, come into my group and immediately say, can I post about my thing? I don't know you. You have not supported my group. You have not liked my page. You have not commented on any of my material, right? How would I be willing to go above and beyond for you as opposed to my many supporters before I would support them, right? Why would I support you, a stranger that has not supported me, before I would support someone that has already been there for me, supported, bought my thing, loved on my comments, all of those things. Support others before you ask for support. I think that is a really important one. Reciprocal, be reciprocal. I think being a human being online is about being reciprocal. If someone is supporting you and liking and commenting on your things, maybe think about commenting on theirs, right? We all know how important it is and how much it lights us up when someone likes something or loves something or comments on something. Like, that's such an easy fix, right? That is such an easy thing to help others before you're asking for help. So before you pitch, hey, buy my thing or sign up for my newsletter, right? Give them something of value first. Hey, give them some support. Give them some love first, because that is going to build trust and that is going to build that relationship far more than your content post over here. So as a real quick recap, right? These are the 3 things to get more clients. Start getting more clients if you do these 3 things. 1, go where they are. Figure out who it is and where they hang out. Go there. Go to them, right? Message them. Figure out who they are. Start some relationships. Start loving on their posts. Support them, right? Go where they are. Number 2, warm them up. They've got to know. They've got to get to know you and your offers and your services and who you are as a person. So warm them up. I think the Facebook group is the best way to do this because you qualify people before they get in, and then you can use so many of the community tools to warm them up and make sure they see all of your posts. So warm them up. Number 3, follow up, right? It is the last and most important step. And if you've already followed up, follow up again. If they ghosted you, follow up again. Honestly, they forgot. It is not that they are annoyed. Until you get a hard no, they are not annoyed. They forgot, right? It could be that they're ghosting you and they're avoiding you, and that's up to you. You can decide at what point do you stop bugging someone. But I really believe most of us have forgotten some of these messages, right? Follow up. Just follow up. So simple. So tell me below what 2 things jumped out at you. I would love to hear if anything was an aha moment for you. If you're going to try two action items, I would love to hear from you. What jumped out at you today? I would love to hear. All right. Again, I always like to leave with a few little tidbits. So if you feel like you need a little bit of mindset, a little bit of sales, and a little bit of tech, right? That is my wheelhouse. I love to help you with all those 3 things. I say women are far better saleswomen than most men, right? But we are just not taught sales skills. So if that's something you feel like you're lacking, I would love to talk to you, because I think having the right sales strategy can change everything. I think every woman is capable of being good at sales. Just because you are in business and you say that you're bad at sales does not mean that you actually are, right? If you are in business, you better get good at sales, right? Because this is how you're going to grow. It is not enough to be in business and just say, well, I don't think it's enough to just say, well, the right customers will come to me and start asking. That is amazing and beautiful. And if they do, more power to you, right? But at some point you are going to have to sell and be direct. And that is where sales skills come in and the right strategy that works. So I would love to, and that feels aligned with you, right? There can be a different framework for everybody, but I think having that framework is important and figuring out what works for you, because you've got to believe it, right? You've got to be able to sell and believe in what you're selling and believe in what you're saying. So I really think sales skills are really important. And I think with that comes a lot of mindset work. Because so often, I think as women, we are told we're not good at sales, or that we shouldn't be direct, right? We should be polite above all else. So I think there's a lot of limiting beliefs just from the get-go as women. I think that come from society, that come from our childhood, that come from just being a woman. I really believe there are so many limiting beliefs built into our society that it takes a little bit of mindset work to shift those views, to shift those stories that we tell ourselves, and that is really important. And then the last piece is tech, right? I feel like tech, we are bombarded with new tech, especially with AI coming out, right? There are so many new tech tools. I am here to simplify your tech, right? I really do not believe everyone needs a third-party something to make your life easier. I really believe in simplifying your tech. Less is more. So if you do not have a system that is getting you leads every single day, let's talk, because I would love to help build that sexy system for you that lights you up every day and actually works, getting qualified leads to your business every single day. So if that's something you're interested in, I offer a free sexy systems audit, a free social media audit. Just say strategy below or say audit below. I would love to reach out to you and look at what you have going on, right? I can always look at your social media and tell you some free tips to get you started, and then give you some ideas on how to take another step to really build your business and gain momentum for the next new year coming. Awesome. That is it for today. Thank you so much for sticking around. Again, don't waste yours like I did. I made all those mistakes so that you don't have to. I would love to share my knowledge with you so that you can move your business forward before you stay stuck without a plan. Thanks so much for sticking around. We'll see you.